Hi, hello. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Sasha and I am just beginning my real estate career. Very exciting. I passed my exam on March 24th on the first try and I have everything fresh in my head, so I wanted to share it with all of you who are trying to pass the California real estate exam. So the first part I'm going to talk about is what to expect when you get there. So it's a whole process. When you print out the information to get to the California real estate exam, you need to print that out. You need to take that with you. They need that there. So print it out, take it with you, and then what you do, you drive to the facility. There's going to be a parking garage number 8. Park in that very top 4th floor. You're supposed to have a parking permit that comes in the package that the Cal DRE sends you. If you don't print it out, it's okay. I didn't have my parking permit. As long as you park on the very top floor, the 4th floor, you're gonna be fine. But if you don't, they're gonna tell you right before you start the exam that you need to move your car. So I suggest just saving you the hassle and park in the very 4th floor of that parking garage number 8. Once you do that, you walk to the building. It's gonna be the Citibank building. And you're gonna wait outside. There's gonna be a sign that says, hey, if you're here for the Cal State DRE exam, you gotta wait here. Please park in the 4th floor. Please have your paperwork ready, and you can start entering in the building at 12:15. My test was at 12:45 because I am not a morning person. And it took me about 3 hours to get there. So that's another thing. Side note, make sure you get there with plenty of time, because if you are late, they will not let you in. So make sure you are ahead of schedule, plan for accidents, plan for construction, plan for all that, so that way you make it there to the facility on time. Once you're wait outside and you're there, so like I said, my scheduled test was 12:45. At 12:15, they let us come in. There's gonna be 2 elevators and there's gonna be a lot of people. When I went, there was like 40 people. You get inside, you go into the elevators. It's only 2 elevators, so take your time. There's a lot of you. You go to the floor and then you make 2 lines, and then she's telling you, have your paperwork out, put everything not needed away. Your wallets, your phone, your purses, if you have any jewelry, no Apple Watches, anything like that, anything in your pockets needs to go in the bag, in your purse, or whatever you bring with you. And then they're gonna ask you if you need to use the restroom. I suggest using the restroom if you need to. And then you're gonna form 2 lines, and then they're gonna assign you a locker. So you go in, you pick a locker, and you put everything in there. And I mean, put everything in there. If you're gonna fiddle with the jacket, put it in there. Your purse goes in there, your car keys go in there, your wallet, everything goes in there except that piece of paper and your ID. Once you get your locker and put everything in there, you go to a lady and she makes sure that your name on the paper matches your ID and matches you. Then you go in line again. And then this time they're checking your hands to make sure you don't cheat. So what they'll ask you to do is, if you have long sleeves, they'll ask you to pull your sleeves like this and go like this to make sure you're not cheating or anything like that. If you have pockets, they will make you turn your pockets inside out. There's no dress code, just dress comfy. But yeah, so they make you turn your pockets inside out. They make sure if you have any hair ties, jewelry, if you have glasses, reading glasses, they will check your glasses. Like the lady actually took off a man's glasses and looked at them and gave them back to him. The only thing that I think they allowed was like necklaces. Like I had a necklace on and they didn't tell me anything about that. But my Apple Watch, I put away, any kind of jewelry. And then once you're done with that first little line, you go to another lady behind like a plastic screen. You give her your paperwork and then you do it again. She makes you make sure that you're nice and visible of, nothing on your arms and your hands. And then if you have a mask, they will make you take off your mask and they'll check the inside of the mask. So just so you know, they check everything. They don't want no cheating whatsoever. Obviously, it's a California state exam. So once you move from there, she assigned you a mouse, an actual mouse, and it says what number computer you're gonna be at. I was at 66, I believe. The room is fairly small. It's lit pretty much like this, just like the natural lighting. And each row has numbers on the front of the desk. So it tells you what number you're gonna be seated at. I was seated on the corner, which I was happy about. And then the computer, everything is done by computer, and you have to look down. So the computer screen is inside a desk with a clear glass on top, and all you have to do is move your mouse. So you look down like this the whole time. They really just want no cheating, obviously. So you're looking down like this the whole time. When you're done with the test, it took me, do not compare yourself to me, please, because I've been studying since October, and I scheduled my exam in March. I was supposed to take my exam earlier, but that's a different story. I had to have surgery, so I had to postpone my exam. So I've been studying a very long time. It took me an hour. I got done in an hour. I was one of probably the third person to get done with the test. So I even got like second thoughts of like walking and seeing everybody still testing, and I'm like, shoot, like, did I do okay? Did I go over my questions? Like, am I okay? But obviously I was fine. So you end the test, you go back to the front to the lady who checked you with the mouse, you give her back the mouse, you tell her you're done. You are not allowed to go back to your locker yet. So I said yes, I wanted to use the restroom because I have a long ride home. So I went to use the restroom, I came out of the restroom, and she already had my paper for me printed and folded and stapled. You are not allowed to open that until you get outside the double doors of the testing area. I waited until I got to my car because I was really nervous and I wanted to film me opening it. Whether it was good or bad, I just wanted to share it with my family and everything. I ended up passing. I want to share my tips with you of how I did that. So that was what to expect when you get there. Don't really stress about it. Plan ahead. Make sure you know where you're going. It's just a test at the end of the day. So when it comes to anxiety, trust me, I know I have anxiety. It's just a test. Just try to think of it that way. And the more prepared you are ahead of time, the more confident you're gonna go in. So when it comes to the studying, like I said, I signed up for my school in October. So October, it took me about 2 months to finish school, to finish my coursework. And then I signed up and did my application in December, and it got accepted really quick. I was going to make my exam for January, but like I said, I got sick and then I had to have surgery. So then I postponed it till March. So from October to March, I've been studying very, very hard, and like every day. I did not take a day off from studying because this is something I wanted really bad. So this is the study plan I suggest. In your course, you get books. And the books, I didn't even read. I skimmed through the chapters, but what I did do was write down the key terms of each chapter. You have to figure out what kind of study person you are. For me, I have to write things down for me to memorize them. So I wrote down all the key terms so that way you can have them memorized. I suggest getting a Prep Agent. They're not sponsored. I wish they were. I wish I was, but no, it's not sponsored. I just really, really loved Prep Agent. So what I did with Prep Agent is memorize, Joe was right, memorize 5 terms a day. And if you can, once you memorize those 5 terms, bump it to 10 terms a day. So as long as you have your terms down, you're gonna know what the question is involving. So now that you got your terms and stuff memorized, the second thing you do is go to Prep Agent and then go to all of Joe's videos. He has a whole list of videos for you and explains everything so well. He explained everything better than my course at First Tuesday. Like the guy at First Tuesday was cool, but I didn't really comprehend everything he was saying. Joe, like, this is bad to say, but it's not, he like dumbed it down where I was like, oh, I get it. And an example of that is what he does with the chattel. You know, that is personal property because it moves. Well, chattel, cattle is a cow, it moves and it says moo, you know, like stuff like that. But that question was on the exam and I laughed to myself because I'm like, cow, it's personal property because it moves. Thanks, Joe. you know? So it's stuff like that, little things, quirky things like that, that will help you remember things on your test. And it does help you remember. So go through all the videos. It's about 8 hours worth of videos. So plan out how many videos you can do a day, but get all of those videos watched, all of them. Then when you have all of those videos watched, then move on to the test questions. Now, this is the biggest thing that I think helped me the most. So I purchased Prep Agent. I think it was the mid-tier, and they do have a sale going on, which I got it when it was a sale too, and it was 40% off. So I'll leave the link down below for that. But I also used Crash Course Online. Crash Course Online was $70, and let me tell you, I prefer Prep Agent a lot better. And let me tell you why real quick with these two, so that way you have an idea. And that way you don't have to spend extra money that you may or may not have. With Crash Course Online, they do mock test, which is really cool. Their mock test is exactly like the real estate test. The mock tests are the only thing I liked from Crash Course. The studying material and the courses from Crash Course I didn't like because you couldn't select the number of questions you wanted. It doesn't tell you a progress while you're taking the test. It just says correct or incorrect. I like seeing how many I got wrong and how many I got right. It doesn't store your wrong questions on the side. So there was just more cons with Crash Course Online than with Prep Agent, and it sucks that I spent that money. $70 is a lot to spend. So I suggest if you don't have that much money, get Prep Agent. So with Prep Agent, it's great. You can pick your topic. So like financing, real estate principles, transfer of properties. They're gonna have a list of topics. Now, what I did was I went to the CalDRE website and I saw how many questions of each topic was in my exam. So for example, real estate principles has about 30 questions. So then I'd go back to Prep Agent and then I'd do 30 to 40 questions on Prep Agent. I would not leave that topic until I got 75% or better. So for like a whole day, I would just do real estate principles, all the questions, 30 questions, 30 questions, until I was confident enough where I'm like, I know these questions now, I'm getting 75%, I'm good. Then I go to the next topic. So the CalDRE says, I think transfer of properties was only like 6 questions, maybe 6 to 10 questions. So then I go back to Prep Agent, and then I go to transfer of properties, and I put 10 questions. I always do a few more questions to make it even. So I did 10 questions, and then I would do transfer of property, until I got 75 or better. Then I kept going. Prep Agent is great with their testing. So let's say with real estate principles, I'd get like maybe 5 wrong. The 5 questions that I got wrong would be on the side of the screen, so that way I can come back to them and be like, ooh, okay, I need to study that more, or I need to study real property versus personal property more, stuff like that. So then I know, and I write those questions down, and then I go back to the study material on Joe's website on Prep Agent, and then I rewatch the videos. Once I was comfortable getting 75% to 80% on each topic, then I started doing the master comprehensive exams on there. So I did 150. So as you know, or if you don't know, the test is 150 questions, multiple choice, and you need 70% to pass. And they don't give you a percentage, by the way. It's either pass or no pass. So you know already it's going to be multiple choice. You know you can get about 40 questions wrong. 150 questions, and do them every day, along with still memorizing your terms. So in the morning, I would do 150 question. At night, I would do 150 question. And when I did like my cram, like my push studying, I did it 2 weeks prior to my date. So my exam was the 24th. I started really pushing and putting a schedule in place for the questions and taking the exam questions like 2 weeks prior. So like March 1st is when I really started going, okay, here's my plan. So this day I'm going to do this many tests. and then I'm not gonna leave until I do this test. And then, you know, a week prior, like, so my test was on the 24th. On the 19th, I was like, okay, now every day we're gonna do comprehensive exams. I did comprehensive exams twice a day, probably I'm gonna say 7 days in a row. So like I said, in the morning, do 150. At night, do 150. Morning, do 150. Just keep doing that until you hit 75% or better. Don't be sad or mad or discouraged if you start off low. When I started doing the master comprehensive exams, I was getting like 60%. That was the first test I ever took with a comprehensive of 150. I got 60%. But don't stop. You can't progress unless you're still studying, and you have to study for this test. This test is not easy. It's only a little bit easy if you're already going in confident with all this knowledge behind you. It's not something where you can be like, oh, I'm just gonna study the week prior and then boom, you got it. No, you actually need to put the time in it. I started off at 60%, and then the next test I got like 65%. And then the next test I got 65%. And then the next test I got like 67%. And then I got 70. And then I got 73. And then I got 75. And then the 3 days before my exam, I was getting 80, 85, 90, 80, 85, 90. So just keep pushing at those exams. I know your brain's gonna be fried, but if you really want this, it's gonna be worth it, because then you're gonna pass your exam and be so excited. Okay, so let's recap everything I just said. Get Prep Agent. Go to his definitions and key terms and memorize 5 to 10 a day. Then plan out a schedule of how you're going to study and stick to it. That was my biggest thing, was planning a schedule. And I have 2 toddlers at home. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I have 2 babies. I have a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old. I'm sorry, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So plan out your schedule. I was like, Sunday, I'm going to do this. Monday, I'm going to do this. Tuesday, I'm going to do this. And stick to it. So watch all of Joe's videos, even if you have to watch them in the shower. I still did that. While I was showering, I listened to his videos. While I was making my kids dinner or breakfast, you go to Joe's YouTube channel. He has questions that are for California only. Watch that video. A lot of the questions he said on that California one were on the exam. So definitely watch that video. I watch that video, like, I'm not kidding you, probably once every day. So watch that video. Then start doing each topic exam questions and go to the CalDRE website and then just put whatever questions, how many were there, into the topic. Then when you're comfortable and passing each topic at like 70, 75%, do the comprehensive exam. Keep doing those until you're at 75 and above. So that just helped me get everything down in my head. Find other YouTubers. They have so many other YouTube people that are also giving advice on how to pass the state exam. There's this girl, I will leave her link down below too. Her video with the acronyms, oh my gosh, actually, there was some of her questions where I'm like, oh, I know that because that girl said it this way. For example, she said net listings. Net listing is when the person pays for everything. So property taxes, mortgage, utilities, everything. So it's like a net, right? When you go fishing, you catch everything. You catch all the fish. It's a whole thing. So net listing, you pay for everything. And that was on the exam. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so grateful for that girl because she made me remember that way. So I'll leave her down below as well. And then another big thing for the actual exam, my also biggest tip, when you're taking the exam, skip the first 5 questions. Just skip them. You'll come back to them. Just skip them. Skip the first 5 questions. They are boxed on the left-hand side. So start with question 6. So hit question 6. If it's a simple question, do all of those first. For example, what's the difference between personal and real property? It's not a question, but it's simple, right? You know, personal property moves and real property is immovable. So then you just, whatever, click that answer. Go to question, then don't hit next at the bottom. Just hit question 7 on the left-hand side. And then let's say it's a paragraph question. Skip it. Your brain's gonna get fried with all those paragraph questions. Go to the next question. Let's say it's another short answer. do that one. If it's another paragraph, skip it. So I went all the way down to 150 and answered all of these short answer questions. Once you get to 150, go back up and do your paragraph questions. And let me tell you, on my exam, there was about, I want to say, a solid 15, maybe to 16 big paragraph questions. Now, they weren't hard. They were just a lot of reading. And another suggestion is take your time when you're reading. A lot of these questions are not like, they're not trying to trick you, but a lot of the questions were like, oh, blah, 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 except. So take your time when you're reading each question. And then a third one is go with your gut. If there's a question, if there's an answer that you don't recognize, don't hit it. Then you don't know it. you don't know it. You never heard of it. Don't do it. So just do that. So work your way from the bottom, the 150, all the way back up, and then you're done. I didn't even go over my test because I'm one of those people of, once I already hit my answer, if I go back and reread it, I'm going to change it. And not because it's like, oh, that's really right. It's just my anxiety is going to tell me, hey, that's not right. Just change it. And I'm like, oh, I should do it, right? But don't do that. Just submit your first test. Just take your time. If you need the whole 3 hours, take the whole 3 hours. They allow bathroom breaks. If you need to just get up and like shake your head and go put water on your face, go do it. They let you go to use the restroom. But your time doesn't stop. So just know that if you hit the break button at the bottom, your time is still ticking away. So it's just a test at the end of the day. Study, study, study. That's just my huge thing. But this plan really helped me. And I passed on the first time, and it was so good and so fun. Even if this is going to be your second time or your third time taking it, try this strategy of studying. And I really, really, really hope you pass. And I hope this helps you guys. And if you've been with me this far, which I hope you have been, this channel is now going to be about just like whatever properties that I have, along with my I like to do home decor and home organizing, because now that I am official real estate agent, signed with my broker, already there, I get my business cards next week, I am your home girl. So that's my brand, because I do all things home related. I like to home organize, I like to home decor, everything home DIYs, and now I sell and buy homes for my clients. So everything's all together. I'm your home girl. If you guys have any specific questions that you want me to answer, please leave them in the comments. I do get back to people who leave comments. So if you want to ask me any particular way of more in depth of how I studied, I will gladly answer your questions. So study, guys, study, 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 and the best of luck to you for all things home related. I'm your home girl. Bye.